Order. The House is resumed and comes now to questions for oral answer.
Mr. Speaker.
And the first question stands in the name of Rahui Katene.
Mr. Speaker, to the Attorney-General, does he agree with the reported statement of the Hon Phil Goff that any outcome needs to maintain public access to beaches and protect the customary title or rights of iwi to the seabed and foreshore, and that this is already the situation? If not, why not?
Mr. Speaker, I certainly agree that any outcome needs to protect the customary title or rights of iwi. However, rather than protecting customary title, the current Act extinguished it. But I guess only the Labour Party would equate extinguishing basic property rights with protecting them, and perhaps this helps explain why they thought the way to protect free speech in New Zealand was to restrict the rights of New Zealanders for fully 1/3 of their adult life under the Electoral Finance Act.
Rahui Katene.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, does the government's consultation document on the foreshore and seabed address the concerns raised by the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination that the 2004 Act contained discriminatory aspects against Māori, in particular its failure to provide a guaranteed right of redress?
The Honourable Chris Finlayson.
Yes, in addition to the criticisms of the United Nations, the review panel did indeed find that the current Act disproportionately discriminated against Māori. Well, I'm simply referring to what the report said, because it extinguished Māori property rights in the form of customary title while leaving non-Māori property rights unaffected, and it removed the fundamental right of folk to go to court. The government's preferred approach, as set out in the consultation document, is going to restore that fundamental right of New Zealanders to have access to the courts.
Rahui Katene.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Supplementary, why is public domain, takiwa iwi whānui, the government's preferred option, and is it responsive to tikanga Māori such as kaitiakitanga?
Point of order, the Honourable Simon Power.
It appeared that the microphone didn't kick in there for the first 10, 11 words. I certainly didn't hear them. I wonder if we could have the question again.
Order. If members quite finished, there was a point of order. And it was a perfectly fair point of order that I couldn't hear either. If the Honourable Member Rahui Katene wouldn't mind repeating her question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Why is public domain, takiwa iwi whānui, the government's preferred option, and is it responsive to tikanga Māori such as kaitiakitanga?
The Honourable Chris Finlayson.
Mr. Speaker, I believe it is. The concept of ownership has proved to be a polarising issue, and I believe that the public domain concept provides a very good basis on the way forward, and it certainly provides a good framework within which iwi and hapu can access the courts to seek to prove customary title.
The Honourable David Parker.
Does the Minister agree with Hone Harawira that the existing Foreshore and Seabed Act essentially stole freehold title to the whole of the foreshore and seabed around New Zealand from Maoridom?
The Honourable Chris Finlayson.
I think as we move forward, it's important to avoid explosive terms like steal or appropriate, and what I'm keen to do is seek to achieve a reconciliation of interests. And an answer to the member for Rongotai, we could all look back to the past, we could all and throw sticks at one another. What I'm seeking to do is rise above this and do the right thing for the country.
Mr. Speaker,
point of order, the Honourable Darren Hughes.
Mr. Speaker, raise a point of order about the nature of the answer from two perspectives. One, the quote from my colleague is a quote I understand from just yesterday, so it's not looking back in the past, it's a recent matter of public importance for us to consider. Well, he said the ancient past.
Order, there shouldn't be interjection.
The second point, sir, is that the substance of the Minister's answer was that he didn't want to go down a path of criticism and arrow slinging and so on and so forth. But in his own prepared answers to the Māori Party's supposedly supplementary questions, he'd accused the Labour Party of shutting down freedom of speech and all sorts of things.
Order.
I just don't feel my colleague's question was answered.
Order. I hear the member, and I agree with the member absolutely that the disorder that has arisen during this question stems from the Minister's first answer. That was not particularly helpful. But having said that, I think the member, the Honourable David Parker, asked a question, does the Minister agree with a statement? And we all know that when we seek opinions, we don't expect absolutely precise answers around opinions. And from the Minister's answer, it would appear he doesn't totally agree because he suggested that sort of language was not helpful, I think. So I think the member did get his question answered. The Honourable David Parker.
Does the Minister agree with comments by John Armstrong in the Herald this morning that, and I quote, "Right now, the Maori Party carries the responsibility of making optimum use of a benign political climate to strike a deal both for its own sake and the country's"?
The Honourable Chris Finlayson.
With apologies to the Herald, I have to confess I haven't read the article, but I think, I'm the first to admit that it's a different political environment from what it was 7 years ago, and I think there's a very good opportunity to work through this issue.
I apologise to the Minister.
That was Mr. Robertson behaving like an oaf.
I was just about to assist the Minister, and the Minister's just cut the ground from under my feet. And there's not a lot, because on this occasion the Minister was trying to give a helpful answer, and there was a lot of interjection that was very unhelpful. But in that last comment, the Minister really has left me no option but to actually proceed to the next question if there are no more supplementaries. Question number 2, Pesata Sam Lord Tuinga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.